Everybody was at the high point of all the stores are being burned. And the guy just quoted, no one came. No one came. And he was talking about the police, that they cordoned it off and they basically let K-Town burn. So what they had to do, they went and say,
they had to protect themselves.
We and they armed themselves, and they returned fire.
Do you think Asians in America are going to get to that point where
first
they say
of all,
enough is enough? We need to police ourselves. Fuck it.
I'd rather be tried by 12 than to be carried by 6.
Lucky Boys Podcast.
Revolving door has always been existed in
Well, what Giuliani was, it was definitely not a revolving door. People were scared.
He locked that door up and said, listen, we're going to go through this. But then again, we also have judges in the Bronx where she just let the person go through her door. This is all in the news, so I'm not making this shit up. Literally, there was one incident where the Bronx, I think it was like a judge or a DA, whatever, and just basically let the perp out through her door and say, what are you doing? And it didn't matter because, things like this happen. So, it's a matter of how the system works and why these people are either, it was probably either designed, flawed by design, or because if they want the money. And a lot of these restorative justice, they were not properly put in place. The idea is good, but you also have to have these process to put in place that works.
Where the judge can use the discretion?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
It seems like the wrong process or the wrong recommendations is in place. Bail reform is not the answer, right? It's really about that, how do you assess the crime, and then decide what to do
and how much bail to put, because it's ridiculous for somebody to once again, knowing that they can't afford that bail, but then so now they're going to have to sit and wait for a trial.
But then to do the other extreme, you're letting real criminals.
Yes, because there are guys that you hear now, oh, he's on the subway. He's been arrested 98 times, but he's out there. And by the way, not only that, and they joked about in newspapers, he's going to probably get a Mets ticket or Yankee tickets. And some of these nonprofit organizations is going to give him a cash card of $50. And then they'll go out. The first thing they come out of Rikers is to buy booze and weed.
I mean, look at
it's actually out there, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Look at the crimes that's occurring. Everyone that they're catching, for the most part, has priors, right? For example, the guy that got stabbed, right, with the 8-inch blade across the street from your home, he has, I believe, 2 or 3 other priors. Mm-hmm. One previous to this one could easily be classified as a hate crime. It wouldn't be a stretch. And this is his second assault against an Asian.
And then the lawyers will probably say, no, but my client is not in the right mental state of mind. And then so therefore they're going to have, mental issues. So, I mean, that's the other thing with New York City, that they've been trying to get the mental health first aid but it's not happening. They always say it's there. We have programs, we have resources. But then again, when the times come to these individuals who need it, it's not available for them.
Right. So do you think it is a mental issue in that case where you're going around stabbing people?
Well, first of all, we don't know what's in the mind of that person when they actually said that. I have to, basically on a neutral level, you literally have to look at each individual case on a case by case. But if you also have priors of what this person is doing, and you want to ask the question, why is he still out in the street?
Yeah,
that's right. That's the other thing. So yes, we have a lot of people that are not in the right frame of mind, but we also have people that are not in the right frame of mind that are not violent. But when you do have somebody that's walking around, with weapons or makeshift weapons, and then, when they start
actually plunging it into people's bodies.
You also have to remember that, the way that, thank goodness, the CCTV, the camera was there, it was totally unprovoked. But he says, I didn't like the way this guy looked at me. Yeah. And just like that the tourist that came to the town for a tennis, just to watch a tennis match, and the homeless person had a hunting knife. He didn't, he said, oh, he bumped into me and he didn't say sorry, so I'm going to make him and he plunged his hunting knife. And, the guy died. I mean, and once again, and just like the recent crime in Brooklyn, the innocent bystander, the Good Samaritan who wanted to help, and he left his family across the street to go try to, stop the altercation and the incident. And then he happens to be the one that is fatally stabbed. Meanwhile,
Oh my gosh.
so, and that was, that's something that it's like now people's going to think, and it's going to go back to the instant of the Kitty Genovese. I don't want to get involved, or don't want to be part of this, because now you don't know what that person is packing or
Right.
what he's capable.
That's why with the
of
Filipino
doing.
guy that got slashed across his
with
face,
with the box cutter.
well, what did he say? I looked around for help and no one
came. And I always have that statement in my head because when I was watching another show, and believe it or not, this is actually from a food cooking network with Bourdain was hanging out with a Korean guy, and he showed him exactly where the incident of the LA riot, where everybody was at the high point of all the stores are being burned. And the guy just quoted, "No one came. No one came." And he was talking about the police, that they cordoned off and they basically let K-Town burn. So what they had to do, they went and say,
They had to protect themselves.
they armed themselves, and
Do you think
returned fire.
Do you think Asians in America are going to get to that point
Well,
where
first
they
of
say
all,
enough is enough? We need
it's-
to police ourselves. Fuck it.
In the news, they statistically, in certain states where handgun purchase by Asians, it shot up in a phenomenal, I don't have the numbers, but the percent is high
They're arming up just to protect their homes and their families. They're
in
not
their business.
like we're seeing some form of that where they're gathering, but it's extremely peaceful, right? Where they're gathering and they're doing community walks. But I'm talking about that evolving into something more aggressive. Do you see that happening?
It doesn't have to be aggressive, because you also have to remember there's always a flip side to owning firearms. I look at it this way.
Well, no. Here's what I mean.
Yeah.
If these crimes continue to happen, and the
But you
end
know
result
what?
is no one is helping.
My answer is the folks in the Bronx, a lot of time with the kids, well, I have a gun because I need to protect myself.
Right.
And a lot of times, a lot of people in the Bronx have illegal firearms, and they're willing to take the risk of the infamous quote, "I'd rather be tried by 12 than to be carried by 6."